Do you reckon she plugged her butt plugs in between? Excuse me, Anthony, I just got to do a quick ad read. Hi, I'm Abby Chatfield. I'm going to explain to you how to use a butt plug.
Can you never use that sentence? Do you reckon she plugged her butt plugs? Can you never use that sentence ever again?
That was funny.
I have good mental discipline and my brain still went places I did not want it to go.
It's all right. I can't say it. Oh, sorry. PG can't. PG. I had one and it was funny, but I'll just hold it back.
Well, what? Because G's mum's watching?
Yes.
G's mum, you're ruining the show. Come on. No, you're welcome. Please, we're very happy to have. We have 2 viewers now, G and G's mum. I mean, it's amazing. We just doubled our viewership. It's incredible.
Excuse me, there's 773 people watching right now. What are you talking about?
And without G's mum, there'd be 773 because actually there's 2 of them watching the same TV, so the computer doesn't count them separately. So
you know what?
Yeah.
If we ever do a proposal document, we can do that fake circulation quote. So what they used to do back in the magazines days is say circulation as opposed to readership. So one person might buy the magazine, but 10 people, particularly in a doctor's surgery or a hairdressing salon, will read the same magazine. So the circulation's at least 10 times.
You've just got to account for the fact that they're going to read it 10 times over the following 20 years. Based on the doctor's surgeries that I go into, you pick up the Reader's Digest and it is from 1996. But 10 people will read it over the following decades.
And it gets sticky and the pages are stuck together? Oh, that's only in men's rooms. Sorry.
I don't know what kind of clinics you're going to, but butt plug sticky magazines. Listen, can we just get back to me dancing in Fitzroy? At least that was clean and suitable for the kids. Come on.
We've got permission to not hold back, so all right.
Okay. All right.
Let's make G regret his comment.
Let's make G regret being born. Excellent. All right. So look, the building
housing.
Well, yeah, the building code thing I think we've kind of touched on. Like this is madness, and this is what I've talked about before. Governments, their incentive is never to fix problems. Their incentive is to double and triple down on what's not working, and we're watching this play out in real time. So, can I segue to the 5% deposit thing?
Go for it.
Okay. So, for those that don't know,
I haven't quite got my head around it though.
Okay, look, I'm not going to explain it in detail because I haven't dived into some of the nuts and bolts on how it's going to work in terms of serviceability and who owns what and all that stuff. But at a high level, what the government has said is they're going to take buyers that only have a 5% deposit, and the government is going to come in as a co-guarantor in some fashion. I'm not clear on the details either. And what that's going to mean is that they can then qualify for this house. They can buy the house that they could not otherwise have been able to afford to buy, or they didn't have the deposit to buy. The problem is that these kinds of ideas, let's help first home buyers, let's help people to afford a house. This is what got us into this mess in the first place. So the very original first homeowners grant came in the 1950s or 60s. It was about $500 at the time, which was a substantial amount of money at the time. It was not indexed to inflation. And so over time, it shrank effectively. It went down to sort of a negligible amount of money. No one really cared about a $500 first homeowners grant. But what's interesting, when I did the research for a video on this a couple of months ago, the year that they introduced this original first homeowners grant was the year in which home ownership peaked in Australia. Now, I'm reasonably sure that that's actually just a coincidence. I don't think that there was a causal relationship between those two, because the $500 grant just wouldn't have been enough to have had that effect. But it's interesting to note that actually at a time when we had the highest home ownership rate, so that's people living in a home that they own or they've got a mortgage on, they're paying off as opposed to renting. That year was the year they first started helping, and that was the peak. Ever since then, it's been a downhill slide. Now, that downhill slide accelerated massively under John Howard. He and Treasurer Peter Costello came up with a whole bunch of family-friendly policies. They did the baby bonus. They did the massive increase in the first home owners grant, pushing that up to $7,000, which again, we're going back 20 plus years. This was a substantial amount of money. And surprise, surprise, what happened? Well, house prices went up even further. If you make it easier for people to pay more money, they will pay more money, which drives prices higher. You don't fix an affordability crisis by favouring a certain segment of the market, i.e. first home buyers, and making it easier for them to spend even more. That's how you drive even more inflation in the prices, in the values. We see this across the entire freaking economy. This pisses me off so much. I'm going to need a throat lozenge because I'm getting too angry. All right.
Jesus,
this happens.
You've taken my mantle.
It's getting serious now. So take childcare. The government said we need parents to be able to put their children into childcare so that they can go and work because we want them in the economy, contributing to the GDP so that we look good. So they turn around and say, right, we're going to subsidize childcare centres. We're going to regulate the industry. We're going to control it all. We're going to subsidize it all. Excuse me. I'm going to need you to get angry soon so that my throat has time to recover. And so what happens? Well, now you can't get a childcare place for love nor money. Why? Because they subsidised it, so you're not paying the full commercial rate. You're not paying the actual economic cost of childcare. You're paying less. If you subsidise it, you artificially increase demand, and now there's not enough supply. You can't get a childcare spot for your kid in most of Australia.
It's no different to what they've done with land tax and pushing renters out of the market. Everyone's selling. Renters are now having less and less opportunities.
Everywhere you look, the government has gone in and helped and made things precisely worse. This 5% scheme, this co-ownership scheme with the government is going to mean that a certain segment of buyers can now afford to pay more, which is going to drive prices even higher. And we're going to be having this conversation in 10 years' time and in 20 years' time. And this has been my point. I got in a lot of trouble recently for saying, hey, everybody, let's fix the problem. Let's not worry about symptoms. Let's fix the problem. You got to understand, it doesn't matter what happens with immigration. It doesn't matter what happens with even population growth from natural birth. If we don't stop the government from eating us alive, it is going to eat us alive. Immigrants or no immigrants, whatever other policy you want to argue about, we are being eaten alive by this dragon called government. They're doing it with a smile on their face and telling us that they're helping us, that they can fix all of our problems, and they are doubling and tripling down on the very things that created these problems in the first place. If we don't stop the dragon, we all get eaten. I don't care about the other issues.
All right, take a break for a second and have a glass of water whilst I read this to you. Have you got some water there? All right. So this is from the ABC's article because who better to get from the source? So this is the proposed plan. So it was originally slated for January, and this expanded scheme will now begin October 1st, 2025, a full 3 months early. Crucially, it will remove, their words, not mine, it will remove previous income limits and raise property price caps to reflect real market prices. For example, in Sydney, the eligible price cap jumps from 900,000 to 1.5 million. So hang on, just because I don't quite understand this, I will admit that. So they're basically saying that someone who couldn't afford to save the 10% or the 20% deposit can now pay for a $1.5 million home with 5%. So they're buying above what they can already afford.
So this is a really important point. And this is where the details do matter, and neither you nor I are fully across the details. If they're on the hook for that amount of interest rate, for that amount of like repayments on a monthly basis, if they can afford that, then they can save. They can save a deposit. The people that can service a loan that big can save the damn deposit. If they can't save the deposit, there is no way in hell they can service that loan, which means essentially what's going to happen is if assuming that the government has this scheme allows them to do that anyway, they are going to be trapped. Once you're in this scheme, it's like all welfare. It's a welfare trap. Once you're in, you're not getting out because you're stuck. You can't stand on your own 2 feet. You've been elevated to a point where you can't afford that anymore. Now you're literally going to be dependent on government to aid you in housing for the rest of your life.
Hey guys, thanks for watching another short clip from The Oddcast. If you want to watch the full video, it's over on YouTube at The Oddcast HQ, and you can see more from me and Topher over there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep up with us in the comments.